Okay, so this is my first video in a few years and the last video. Today I'm going to wrap up Lyme disease and use myself as a case study for differential diagnosis and psychosis. This video will be narrated by a robot, which unfortunately takes away some of the authenticity. I'm going to start off with Lyme disease's Herxheimer reaction and why worst case scenarios are another reason that the Australian government and federal health bodies in Australia aren't interested in recognizing Lyme disease and co-infections. Bartonella and Babesia are malaria-like parasites. They hide inside red blood cells. Borrelia, or Lyme disease-causing bacteria, hide inside white blood cells. Now let's say antibiotics enter the bloodstream. They hone in on the bacteria and parasites and have to go inside the blood cells to kill the infection, causing the blood cells to explode. Toxins and any heavy metals that the bacteria and parasites are carrying are released at a much faster rate than normal, and faster than the body can get rid of them. Death of enough oxygenated red blood cells can cause hypoxia. If the blood cells are in the brain, this can result in psychiatric problems and permanent brain damage that shows up on MRI scans. In some cases, organ failure from die-off reaction can result in death. Here's an article on some of the suicides from people that have Lyme disease in WA. I would estimate that there is around 5 a year nationally. But let me be clear. I do not think that the majority of these suicides in Australia happen because of bacterial die-off. I think they happen because people are turned away from hospitals and their families don't believe them to be unwell, as the medical profession in the public health system gets the last word. I'm going to finish up Lyme disease by talking a little about China's health system. China is the only country in the world where the public health system's blood bank tests donors for Lyme disease before accepting donations. This is a good example of people doing things differently in other countries that shows inequality in our own health system. China essentially denies people social security that don't help the Chinese Communist Party or aren't projected to in the future, so it makes sense on paper to make a highly efficient health system, as long as the government can quash the public backlash from actions like this. On the other hand, other first world countries have other responsibilities tied up in universal health care and similar models. Let's say maybe there is a conspiracy to deny anyone who tries to recognize Lyme disease by federal political and health entities. What would you look for in this case? Personally, I look for the shadow on the wall in the actions of non-government organizations and non-profit organizations. If you tell the Red Cross you have Lyme disease, they won't accept blood from you, and they won't say why. Lyme disease physicians risk being sanctioned by the AMA if they receive only one complaint, to the point they realistically can't practice again. Then look at the fact that Australian biologics can't do highly accurate in-house testing of Borrelia urine because the government banned the test. The reason that they gave is that they don't want people falsely diagnosed with Lyme disease and prescribed antibiotics, which could be dangerous. This is a tactical move to ban by far the most accurate test for Lyme disease, with a high degree of sensitivity and 100% specificity. If there's dead Borrelia in your urine, you probably have Lyme disease. They could have banned any of the less accurate blood tests, but they didn't. NATA also refuses to give Australian biologics a NATA license and won't say why. According to the woman I spoke to from Australian Biologics when I rang up, they have done everything NATA wanted, but the process is highly political. Reflecting on my progress, it took 9 general practitioners, 2 with an interest in Lyme disease, 3 naturopaths, a geneticist, a genetic counselor, 30 psychiatrists publicly, 1 privately, 7 psychologists, 2 PAN specialists, 10 researchers in Australia and abroad. To get the correct diagnosis, I went to a psych ward 9 times. 6 times I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act or bullied with it to cooperate, 3 times I admitted myself. It took 7 years of arguing with 15 different people to get a bed at my psychiatric hospital to take antibiotics for Lyme disease and co-infections. The 31-year disease burden of Bartonella meant that I had a severe Herxheimer reaction and had to stop. I did several thousand hours of research into hundreds of case studies, medical journals and websites, books and electronic books. Meditated for 10,000 hours to put together the pieces and work through the political controversies in different schools of medicine in different countries to try and come to the truth. I cracked the digital rights and downloaded a $400 endocrinology journal from the UWA Medical Library. My brother contacted the University of Paris and the corresponding company running their research in Switzerland in French. I faked academic researcher credentials to make a ResearchGate profile to contact the authors of a Chagas disease paper. I rang up a naturopath in San Diego at 3 a.m. Perth time for a diagnosis of Lyme disease and co-infections based on clinical history and symptoms because the waiting list for Perth doctors was several weeks away. I gave myself a self-education in 10 different schools of medicine, psychology and nutrition. I contacted just under 100 people in 8 different countries, including specialists and researchers in multiple states of Australia and America. I mentally worked back through my entire life and my entire medical records. I assembled a list of 200 general medical conditions that can cause psychosis while testing myself for them. After 11 years of looking, I finally came to the conclusion of PANS. So this is PANS. Pediatric Acute Onset Neuropsychiatric Syndrome. What this basically means is that it's psychiatric features due to basal ganglia autoimmune encephalitis that happens in childhood. There is a breach in the blood-brain barrier, and infections get into the brain, causing the immune system to generate autoantibodies for this area of the brain, which usually results in OCD symptoms, but in 25% of cases there is psychosis. I kept going and I kept going and I kept going until I got the answers I wanted, and I'm still looking, but the first priority for my resources and time is PANS treatment. So while I'm looking for a rheumatologist to negotiate getting plasma exchange therapy, which is the gold standard for an acute psychotic episode in PANS, I would like to dedicate this video series to the 2 people who supported me the most in this journey, the now retired Dr. James Baker, and my brother. Lastly, I would like to thank Centrelink Australia for funding this process. I saved up my money to run tests and see people for years, and it finally paid off.
Our hero claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes with a voice wielding power of the ancient art arts. Believe, believe, the Dragonborn comes. It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes. Beware, beware, the Dragonborn comes. For the darkness has passed and the legend yet grows. You'll know, the Dragonborn's come. Dovahkiin, nalogsin lusvarin, Wohodaim, Vogul, Mafara, Kastval, Rakfenorak, Palgran, Fonasan, Sindrosan, Dovahkiin, Fahin, Kohogan, Mudra. Dovahkiin, nalogsin lusvarin, Wohodaim,